let's get started and a very warm welcome to everybody. So Droisys Master Series, as you all know, that it is designed to bring the best contents for the personal improvement. So in today's Master Series, as we already know that the topic is innovation or innovation at scale, we all know that innovation comes from the inside you. It comes from great ideas, your failures, obsession, for example, the Einstein believed light was special, unique. He was obsessed with light and he proposed his history of life. And then similarly, we can talk about the Newton discovered gravity when he was, he saw a falling apple while thinking about the forces of nature. These are a few examples, but the crux is, ideas, inspiration, and innovation, they all come from inside. We all have that power. So in today's session, we will discuss all the questions which comes in our mind when we hear the word innovation, like how to shape a culture of innovation at workplace, what mindset, qualities, or talent characterize top innovators, and what are the best style of innovation leadership. And there are many more questions which are going on in our mind. To discuss about this and to know more about innovation, we have a very special guest today, Jacob Lanning. He is gaming professional with over 20 years of experience leading innovation for the casino space, from ticket in, ticket out to server-based gaming. Jacob has been at the front of technology development and implementation. He most recently was a VP of Innovation Development for Station Casinos, where he was instrumental in the development of system-wise bouncing technologies that drove significant same-store growth. He now is the principal at a consulting firm working with gaming suppliers on digital payment innovation for gaming. So everyone, let's welcome Jacob Lanning. I am so thrilled to have you today in Droisys Master Series. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to speak with all of you today.
Very much. We would like to know more about it, and I would like to start by asking you where your personal story of innovation began. Please go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been sort of an eager learner in and around technology for basically all of my life. I've been an early adopter when new technology comes out. I find it fascinating. I sort of incorporate technology in and around me in my entire life. From like now, my entire home, for example, has home automation in nearly everything that I do. In my work life, I've always found myself driven to the latest and greatest, trying to figure out ways to improve sort of the human experience in and around interacting with a business or just life in general around them, like whatever can make it easier for a human to experience what they're trying to get involved with. That's the things that I've been focusing on, and just really love new technology and delivering new ways of changing those experiences for people.
Thank you very much. So moving ahead, can we know what mindsets and qualities or talents have you found to characterize top innovators that you must admire, and how does one cultivate those attributes? We are in an industry and we want to know how we can build the innovation team in our organization.
It starts with a few. It starts with a few different things. One probably of the most key elements of a person or a team that you need is really a willingness to fail. Innovation is, frankly, you have to fail a lot in order to find those things that are really successful. And if people are afraid of failing, they typically are afraid of doing things that push the boundaries or push the edges of what you're trying to experience and create. And so I find that organizations that are afraid of falling down, or individuals who are afraid of falling down and not being successful, those are ones that tend to not innovate or tend to not innovate well. They want to stick to They want to stick to the normal course, and they want to stick to what's safe. And you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to accomplish anything in innovation if you don't fall down. I've had more failures in my career than I've had successes. But those failures are what drive me to the next success. And so I would say, more than any other mindset or quality, a willingness to fail is got to be first and foremost. And that often starts at the top. It starts at whoever's leading that innovation team. It starts with a culture of creating a space for the people that are working on those innovations to feel like they're not risking anything by failing, and that failure is actually what is going to lead to success. Because a willingness to try new things, try different approaches, apply different techniques is critical in finding what those sort of kernels of success are going to be.
I mean, we need to have a talent behind everything what we do. We need to understand what's happening, what's coming to us, and then finding the talent that just understands the nature of that business. All right, very well said. So moving ahead, like we know that leadership plays a very important role in any organization, building a organization. So what are your style of innovation leadership? And adding ahead, like, do you ever change your leadership style depending upon the need or the circumstances?
I mean, in general, my leadership style is one of making sure that people are inclusive and involved, right? I mean, the best innovation comes from a team. It doesn't come from an individual. There's always holes in my idea or your idea. And so I try and create environments that are, it really starts at the top, that you've got a leadership group that is financially committed to delivering on innovation. Because frankly, innovation is one of those areas that when times get tough and dollars get short, innovation is often looked at by leadership as the one thing that they can cut on, because it doesn't necessarily provide an immediate return on that investment. And so there's a lot of people that are willing to do it. So it is important that you get the leadership team to buy in, that you're creating the foundation of the future of the company, and that starts as a leader of innovation. It starts with me, that I need to make sure that I can appropriately sell the importance of innovation to the executive team, so that we continue to get that investment in what we need in order to be successful. But then there's a few things that I like to do. It's important that people are included. And so again, that culture of and, as opposed to the culture of but. Don't tell people their ideas are wrong. Make sure that people feel like their ideas are something to be built on. I also like to create an environment where you really make sure that the team is focused on who the end user is. You need to have, in order to be able to fail fast and fail often and continue to maintain leadership buy-in, you have to be able to deliver products. And there's two important things that you need to keep in mind when you're delivering a product. One is that if the end user never adopts what you create, you can create the best product in the world. That was so awesome. Users would love it, but if they never were willing to adopt it, they're never willing to even try it, because the barrier to entry to that product is so difficult. The method it takes to get them there, they're just never willing to try it. And I've seen this time and time again. The products are never successful. The other is you also have to keep it simple. So it's so often that, especially within a culture of and, where because nobody has a bad idea, you end up with a sort of way over-engineered product, because you're trying to solve every single problem with it. And so in that culture of and, you need to figure out also how to focus in on the most core elements, the minimum viable product. You got to, keep it simple. What is the minimum viable option that the end user will adopt to solve the challenge that you're facing with, so that you can fail and fail fast and learn from that failure to then quickly reiterate without having an overly complex product. Because by creating that environment, you're going to give the leaders confidence that though you're going to have failures, the money that they're spending on this team and investing in this team is wise, because they may have 3 failures in a row, and then they're going to hit a product that actually really works. And so that's the sort of when I think about leadership, it's about creating an environment that accomplishes all of those things, making sure that everybody's involved to deliver on that innovation.
Today is a great day. Our forefathers has developed our nation with a dream. And that dream is pretty real now, if you see that, where India is in last almost 70 years of independence or more now? 75. 74 years of independence. India is a new country. And looking at all of you, it's a different place. It's definitely a different place, because I grew up in a very different India. However, the problems hasn't changed. And that is where I see the challenge we have. And as a society, we have to solve those problems. And we have to think about the common person, common human being there. But that's something I feel that we should think about it. We should do something about it. And I'm expecting all of you to participate. So go and teach in schools, go and do the things which really gives you inner peace, pleasure, because when you give back, it changes your mind. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it, how our brain work, how our physiology work. And this is a bunch of chemicals, and we are slave to these chemicals. Giving back definitely releases that. I can tell you one incident when I was in Mayur Vihar. It's a very small school run by Pratham. It's an organization I'm on the board of. And when I was there, and I saw the smile on kids' faces. It's like a 10 by 10 room. And in 10 by 10 room, there was 10, 12 kids and a teacher. And I was there just as an observer. I could see the excitement on kids' face, how they were looking at the books, how they were drawing, and they come from these very, very poor neighborhood. And they don't even have food to eat, but they had an unbelievable, amazing desire to learn. And they were drawing things to me. They were showing me things. They want to impress me. It was I can't even tell you, it was such an amazing feeling. And even today, moments happen, things happen in your life. And when you feel down and you think about them, it just kind of emotionally and spiritually, it's a very enlightening feeling. If you can just dream that with me. I highly will encourage all of you to be part of children's education. At least one cause, pick in your life, go and support it. We all know if we can solve one problem, which is education, majority of the global problems will eliminate by itself. Because when people have education, they know what is right, they know what is wrong, they know how to be successful. They know how they can take care of their family. What I'm hearing, Jacob, is when you have a situation and a complex problem, irrespective of the problem, if you change your setting and if you trust your team members and work and collaborate together, you can develop amazing solution and you can solve really, really big problems. So the big thing I'm hearing is, one is a collaboration, and second is changing the environment around you, such as going to offsite or doing things which is not normal. And I agree with you. A lot of greatest ideas comes when I'm sitting with the team and just having a cup of coffee or tea, And we are not really bogged down with the regular operational issues where we are not focusing on things which are very, very tactical in nature, but you're just having a pure conversation and trying to come up with the crazy ideas, the crazy solutions of the problems.
Yep.
I completely echo with that. But share some story of a personal life where it works, maybe related to parenting. You have 3 kids, right?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I think as I think about my kids and about how I create an environment where they can learn new things or grow or do different things. Again, one of the things that I always focus on with my kids is they love to be creative. They love to do art. They love to come up, build things. My middle son especially is really into Legos, and he will watch a video on YouTube or see something on TV, and he'll then take that idea and try and go and replicate that in real life. What in Legos or maybe even in a video game, like a game like Minecraft. So Minecraft it sort of allows you to sort of build whatever you want, and so he's always taking ideas from all these different things, and he's trying to figure out ways how they're constructed, how you put them together. And I think for me, what I always want him to feel like it's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay for your idea not to work the first time. It's very easy for him to get frustrated because as a kid, you see somebody else doing it, and you're like, oh, I want to copy that. I want to repeat it. I want to steal that idea and I want to apply it over here. It's very frustrating when you try it and you get it wrong. And so my focus with my kids especially is like helping cement that sort of idea that failure is okay as long as you are willing to continue to try. Because if you fail and you get frustrated and you throw your hands up and you walk away, you're never gonna accomplish anything. And there's a study out there or there's a concept out there that people believe that in order to master anything, you need to spend 10,000 hours doing it. And that's the sort of, again, the concept that I keep impressing on my kids is like, you're never going to be good at anything the very first time that you do it. You're going to fumble around. You're going to fail. It's going to hurt. And so perseverance is probably the one best quality that I can impress upon my children is, just a willingness to continue to try even against the highest odds and the most difficult situations. Especially for a young team or people that are just starting to innovate, that's probably the one thing that I would say focus on first is just be willing to fail and keep at it. Don't give up.
So Jacob, that's a very important point, and the two takeaway I hear from that story for our audience and the team members. One is perseverance. You have to push hard, don't give up. And the other big thing I hear is believing in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't believe in themselves, and and for us in the management side is how do we create an environment where people feel that we believe in them. We create a safe environment. We create a safe zone for them that failing is okay. But the big thing is we believe in them and they can do it, because when we started even learn to walk, it was not easy. We fall so many times and we forget that. And especially in the bigger organization, even the smaller organization, we reward mediocrity. We don't reward failures. And that's a huge challenge in any organization, which is where I want to make the difference. And the rest of the Droisys team is really committed to that. And I know it's hard to draw a line or balance it out, where we have okay, how much of that should be more tactical and how much of that can be innovation. But coming to your life and your stories is, would you mind sharing a story of a failure and where say you were failed miserably and you said, no, never again?
Yes, I've had a lot of failures. I think one of sort of my biggest failures that I had at IGT. So I just started at IGT, and my background, I was a casino operator for a long time, and I hadn't really done the product side of things. I developed products, but not in the way that a company that is building products to sell does. Mine was more sort of operational innovation, and solving individual challenges. So I got to IGT, and one of the big things that was always frustrating me as an operator was that they would come out with these links and these progressive links that they would sell to you. So there are games like Fort Knox or a few others. And basically it was a multi-level progressive, and it had all of these base games underneath it. And, Wolf Run, Coyote Moon, whatever, all the different underlying base games. And they were all tied and incorporated with this top thing. And the Fort Knox concept was always great, and it drove, but over time, the individual base games that people played were very boring. And I was, as an operator, very frustrated with that because, we'd make an investment and buy all this expensive hardware. And then over time, it'd start out great. Game performance would be really good. And then over time, it would start to degrade. And like one theme would be great, but the others weren't. And so I wanted the flexibility to be like, okay, well, this certain theme is really good on my floor, and this other theme is really good on my floor. Why can't I just use that base game theme and apply it with this top multi-level progressive? And as an operator, the way I thought about it was, we should have ultimate flexibility. We should have 4 or 5 different themes, top game experiences, and then any game in the entire library at all that IGT develops, video game, should be able to be as a base game. And so that was the concept or the product that we worked with the team to do. It sounds simple, right? It's 4 or 5 top themes, and then just basically pick your base game, and away you go. And but when you actually technically try to do that, the mathematics on it, the fact that there's different pay tables and how things get submitted to the regulators, the product quickly became overly complex, and we had to do a lot of stuff with the underlying platforms that ran the top screen versus the underlying platforms that run the base game. We had to do all this special stuff with the math, and all of a sudden the idea just kept getting more and more hairy, like more challenging, more difficult, more, and it wasn't, there were a couple of things that were going on there that I attribute to its failure. One, we didn't keep it simple. It got overly complex way too quickly. And so for the technical implementation, the cost that we were going to spend in order to actually get this done started growing astronomically. And we weren't really focusing on the end user experience at all. Like the one thing about slots is that those gameplay experiences, the math underlying the gameplay experience, is heavily play tested. When you add another element of a multi-level progressive on top of an existing well-tested, it changes the entire dynamic of how that game plays. If you don't play those things together and you just say, take anything from bucket A and anything from bucket B and throw it together, your odds of it actually being successful to an end user are so low, because you could take 2 great ideas that run counter to each other, and when those ideas converge, they just create, they might be great individually, but when they converge, they just create a terrible experience because they run against each other. We just failed so miserably, again, because we were trying to solve sort of an operational challenge that wasn't really focused on who the actual end user of the product was and whether we were creating a good end user product. And we made it way overly complex. And it was it was joked about. So the product was called Game Changer, and it was joked about in our company. So it was I was developing this product right before GTech announced their acquisition of IGT and became the new IGT. And it was joked about internally as company changer. So it was the game changer that got our company changed. It was just and it wasn't the actual reason why IGT got sold, but that was the moniker that product got, and it was a huge failure internally. And luckily I was able to stay on the IGT to develop some other really cool products later on, but that one was an abject failure.
Hear from you, Jacob, is before I pass it to Shashi, because we are almost at the end. So the few things I hear from you which echoed with me is we have to reward failures. We have to be persistent. We have to believe in ourselves, because if we don't, who else will believe? And user is the key. So focus on user. So it's not about more, it's about how you provide better experience, how you provide easy experience. And I'll use a really pretty overly used use cases, iPhone and Android phone and other phones. iPhone is so successful, it's not because it is better, it's not because it provides the most amazing operating system and iTunes and all. The big reason it is successful is they provide a very easy to use experience. You give it to a kid, you give it to anyone, and they can use it. They don't need a manual to start using an iPhone. Although it's getting pretty complex nowadays. I'm not terribly excited about even setting up a phone. It used to be pretty easy. So it's just making it easier and easier for consumers so they can use your product. And when they ask for features, then you add features. It's not like you're just throwing a million features and hoping they will like it. Cool. Thank you. Sashi, back to you.
Very much, Sanjeev, and thank you, Jacob. Like, it was a very good conversation, incredible conversation, I must say. So I would like to sign up by saying that you are going to make a tons of mistakes, but if you fail forward and you learn and you keep learning from the mistakes, you will definitely come up from that. And I must say that so you should know your values, start messy, and don't be afraid to fail forward. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great weekend. We will see you soon in the next series. We go off, kindly switch on your cameras, and please switch on your cameras. I cannot see if you people are not doing that. So we will say 1, 2, and 3, and the third we'll say Droisys rocks. All right. So are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Droisys rock.
Thank you, everyone. Take care of yourself.